So I'm back in England and I am really disappointed that I haven't got the answers that I seek. Um, I definitely think I needed to go. I feel like I have a lot more power over there in Hollywood. I don't think it's particularly good power because I feel like it's, it, I feel like that place is evil. And you know, when you're sort of living in something and you kind of want to just think about the positives. And that's what I was doing I was there for almost 3 weeks. And I was trying to just see the positives throughout the whole first week and then sort of started to see the negatives during the second week. And then in the third week, I felt like this isn't maybe what I thought it was completely. And, um, the Katy Perry song about um, California girls, I now see that that is a complete piss take. And I'm pretty sure she knew that at the time. So she knew how kind of awful California was. And I think that whole song is actually done to deliberately like say the opposite of what California is like. I've seen loads of Hollywood films, particularly Clueless and stuff. And so I've always had a good opinion of Hollywood and California. And if you would have asked me a year or two ago, like where would be the place I'd most want to live, I would have always said there. And I've said that all my life since I started watching these California produced Hollywood films. But yeah, I think now that I've sort of gone back to England and I realize just how much friendlier people are here and how much better it is because the air feels cleaner because there's a lot more greenery and I love gardens and we came past via Canada, Vancouver, which was annoying because it's kind of like up 3 hours and then went a big 9 hour flight across. So, but yeah, seeing how much nicer just the landscape looked and everything about Vancouver was nicer than LA. And yeah, just I think yeah, that's Katy Perry. The grass is always, if saying the grass is greener in LA, I think that has to be a piss take because nothing is. And the chlorine up in the mountain, the water up in the mountains tastes like chlorine. And so when she said there must be something in the water, I think she was probably referring to something not like chlorine or something. I've been told actually by the locals that they think that there's something bad in the water. Although it didn't make me sick. I have to admit that is the only place that I've had foreign water and not been sick. Like usually when I go to Thailand and things, even if I just have tap water ice in the drinks, I usually always get ill. And so it's interesting how I didn't get ill. So I like that fact. Yeah, my hostel was really nice and I really did like it. Um, they had like burgers and drinks, free burgers and free drinks both Saturday and Tuesday, and then just free drinks on Thursday. And drinks are expensive. Everything is expensive in California. California. So um, it's it was really nice to have that. Otherwise, I probably would have just had the same meal every single day. Um, because yeah, I didn't really want to spend £15 for a meal, and it was like the cheapest meal you could find would be like £15, $15, I mean, and it's just like okay, that's a lot for just I don't know a takeaway burger or whatever they do. Um, but yeah, I think the longer I was there, the more I started to see its faults. If I was only there for 10 days or a week, I don't think I would have come away not liking the place. But because I was there for so long, I felt like it was much nicer and much better. Like I liked the walks, but I preferred to stay in the hostel the whole time. Like I felt like I was there more for a spiritual reason because I was watching a lot of Instagram posts and music, and I just felt like every song that I was listening to seemed to be about me, but not necessarily in a good way. Like there was some like about an alien girl or about some girl who's different or some girl who's gonna a psychopathic girl. There's loads and loads of these songs. And when I've come to back to England and tried to just look at see what songs are being promoted, the songs are less obviously about how I feel. But then again, it's complicated because I do feel psychopathic because I'm so angry at people who are doing things about me behind my back. Um, but at the same time, yeah, they're not really portraying me because I'm as a person can control my feelings a lot better than the songs do. I think the songs are just there to like express all these different feelings, and I do feel them, but I'm good at hiding it when people see me, I guess. But yeah, I realize the homelessness there is really bad, and I've been told that it's actually worse in New York. But yeah, parts of California actually remind me of the Middle East, like damaged, and there's broken pavements and rubbish everywhere, and the homeless people, they're not just homeless, but they're insanely mad. Like, you know, one girl on the bus was literally just slapping herself really hard in the face. I swear at one point I saw a tooth fly out her mouth, and just saying all sorts of nonsense, like garbage that can't be, you couldn't even understand what a lot of it was, because it was like Tourette's, only occasionally she would say something like, "Oh, my whole family are paedophiles. I'm from a paedophile family," and then starts exposing her fanny everywhere. And there was a guy up in the mountains that was kept saying how he's friends with the aliens, and I was like, "Well, what do you think an alien is?" And then he was like, "Oh, just extraterrestrial beings who have come here through portals and stuff like this." And I was like, "Okay." And then he started saying how he knows he's an intelligent, or no, a nice person. He knows he's a nice person because of the hair on his arms, and he was showing how he's got hair on his arms, and that means that he's. And my translation when I was walking away was kind of like, if you take off the H, it's air on in your arms, or on your arms, and it's like, if you're hugging, you kind of want something else, not just air. You want a girlfriend or something. But then I also thought that arms is like a gun, and if you've got air in your gun, well, you want a bullet, so you can either kill yourself or kill others or whatever. And I just felt like, yeah, there was multiple meanings of a lot of things that he says, only he didn't quite understand or realize. And then there was another lady. Well, there was loads of ladies. There was loads of crazy people. But yeah, a weird one was someone going on about how witchcraft was bad and how you shouldn't promote it, but she was talking to an invisible person, um, and it was weird because I kind of was promoting. I do promote it, but only if you use it correctly. Um, but yeah, there's loads and loads of insane people there, and when you see all this homelessness, like outside my hostel, there was a homeless shelter, and 2 or 3 times a week, there was just queues and queues of homeless people down the street. And, I didn't really want to be part of it because some of these people were really damaged and insane. And you kind of just want to avoid them and like not go close to them. But at the same time, I can't help but see similarities between them and me. I feel like some of them are saying things that they don't understand, and often I do things that I don't understand, and then I look back afterwards and I kind of find meaning behind it. I feel like there's a voice in my head that sometimes talks to me, only it doesn't actually. It knows a lot of things, but it can never tell me anything about the future, and I find that very, very frustrating. I went there believing, I went to California believing that I might be able to contact someone or might be able to find out who's doing this, or I should have brought flyers. So I have to admit, I did start delivering. I did print out a small letter, and then started delivering it to lots of doors. I didn't want to tell you at the time in case you went round the letter boxes and got rid of them. But hopefully they should have been found by now. But I don't know. I don't trust anyone over there, because so many people just reject these crazy people and ignore the suffering that they're going through, the madness that they're going through. The government's not helping them. And I can't help but feel similar to that. When I first started believing that I was Christ, I didn't have a home. I'd had massage, which is a really shitty job, and I had to stop that because I couldn't do that job whilst believing that I was a god, because it just felt too humiliating being forced to do that job. But I had a huge amount of rent to pay, and so I was constantly worried about, what happens if all my money runs out and I can't buy somewhere, and that was really hard. And I, people, you treat these crazy people like shit, and yeah, I was going around saying that I was God. I didn't have any money. I had no job, and being in LA, it reminded me of all the people that would just, like, people like me as well, that would ignore these homeless people and try and avoid them, and just, just not let them bother me. But it feels like people there have been trained to do that to homeless, poor, broke, crazy people. And therefore, if there's a whole bunch of people that are writing songs about me and not caring about how I would feel when I see them, especially 3, 4 years ago, if you knew you were going to ignore me for 10 years, that's some serious damage that would have caused me. But I feel like people there are trained to not care about the poor or the homeless um, or the crazy. And so I think that's why it was so easy for so many people to just bully me through the songs, even though there was such a long time to wait. And I'm really hoping it's not going to be much longer. I've noticed that Big Brother is coming back to UK, um, but it's been 10 years. I don't want to just be on a normal, crappy English Big Brother. I think an American Big Brother would be good because America is such a big country and there'd be such a big audience, or potentially there could be such a big audience. Um, you know, England is quite a small country, and a lot of people don't really take Big Brother seriously. And also noticed how the article indicated that Rylan or the other Emma and the other Davina, they might not be hosting it. And I'm pretty sure Rylan would be one of the hosts if I was to be on a Big Brother, like a World Big Brother. Pretty sure Rylan should be on that. I've noticed, I've always noticed actually, that he seems to connect with things that I do, even if he doesn't realize it. Like 3 years ago, there was a few things where I was doing stuff or saying stuff, and I looked on his page and noticed that it almost sounded like he was looking or following or whatever, and that didn't make any sense because I was pretty convinced that I don't know, but I ended up like unfollowing him because of it, because it was a bit creepy. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Rylan should be definitely host. I don't mind Emma or the other one, Davina, but I don't know. I don't actually like the American one as much. Like I thought the characters were very just ordinary people, and they did just remind me of all, but especially two of them. Two of them kind of reminded me, one from this protest and this other one from this that the hostel that I was staying at. I stayed the whole time I was staying in that hostel. There was a guy who looked very similar to one of the candidates on Big Brother, but I didn't even realize that until like the last few days. And he kept saying that he was going away, and so I kept thinking he was going, and then he ended up just coming back. And because I don't know, he's picking his brother from an airport, and then the brother didn't come, so he came back, and I don't know, he was there for the whole time basically. It was really annoying because he kept wanting to have the fan on at night, and it kept moving the covers, and so I kept thinking that, like, I don't know, something was in the room because something kept waking me up with the moving. The wind was moving the covers, and it was annoying. And it was also quite cold sometimes. Like other times it was hot, but other times the fan was just annoying and cold. And anyway, I did. It was nice to have the same person, because sometimes if you're sharing a room with a different person each night, then it can be, well, it's good on ways because you can get to know different people. Um, there was a second room part of the room, but I never really spoke to those guys very much at all. But anyway, I yeah, I don't think that California is actually where I want to live. I definitely don't want to live there any longer. I realize that it's horrible how the government haven't put safety warnings around some of those walks. Some of the walks, they look like normal walks, and you walk down them for ages and ages. You can walk down a path for like 45 minutes, and then you find that it ends at a cliff edge or something. You have to literally like rock climb down the mountain to get to it. Well, this was a path a second ago, and now it's turned into this. No warning signs, and you can't do it if you're an old person or if you're pregnant, or some of them, you have to just stick to the normal path. And the normal path doesn't seem to have any shortcuts. So if you want to do a shorter route, you can't. So, um, you know, um, yeah, I feel like there's a lot more work that can be done on making the Hollywood Hills a lot better. The beaches were annoying because nowhere did I ever see like a place to wash your feet. It's really annoying walking around with sand in your shoes. And yeah, usually you have the beach. In almost every beach that I've been to, you have every good tourist beach, you have a nice beach, and where you can do what you want with the toilet facilities and stuff. And I think there was toilet. I was told that there was a toilet somewhere, but it was probably in the sand. And yeah, if you walk from the toilet back to the path, you're going to get sand in your shoes, and there was no facility to wash your feet to get the sand off your shoes. So when you walk home, you don't have sand in your shoes. So it's almost like that place is designed only for rich people, only for people who drive as well. But the public transport was horrible. There was no, like, on the signs, there was no sign on how often the buses come, when the buses stop, um, even which direction it was. I had a difficulty getting to the airport because I waited 10 minutes for a bus that was late, or what I thought was late, and then ended up waiting 10 minutes for it, only to find that actually I was on the wrong side of the road and I should have been on the other side of the road. And I do actually remember there being a bus on the other side of the road, but I looked on the map and I don't know, it just seemed, because it said it was right by the bus stop was right by a Burger Thing, oh, and across the road from the Burger Thing, and I saw, okay, there's a Burger Thing, so this might be the right one. And then I realized that's actually also a Burger Thing behind me, but it didn't even look like a Burger Thing. It looked like a posh restaurant. It didn't look like a burger joint. And so, yeah, I was standing on the wrong side of the road, and I ended up missing the bus, and that bus only came every half an hour, so I had to cross over the road and wait another 25 minutes, even though I'd only waited 10 minutes just to miss the bus that I was planning on getting. And there was no indication on which way was which. There was no indication of how long the buses will come or when they were coming. There was an app you can sign, but if you're a poor person, you probably don't have a phone, you probably don't have app. Internet is very expensive there, and so to not have this basic information just really shows how America just disregard the poor and have no respect or anything for them. How easy would it be to just put up signs on how often the buses come? Some of them only come once an hour, and you could be sat there for an hour waiting for this bus, thinking that it's only 10 minutes, and you just have no clue where it's going. And when you do get on there, you find that it's full of crazy people, and just the streets are really, really wide, but very, very dangerous to cross. And um, pavements are just full of cracks and just cheaply done, and everything just looks dire, like it's like in the Middle East. How California looked in most of the places that I bussed past, it looked like I was in the Middle East. And yeah, it's amazing how awful it is compared to how amazing some of the films are. And my theory actually is that when I was having such a shit life, I made this video. I kind of when I was looking to be a singer and I was having a shit life and I wasn't being successful in any way, I kind of turned my pain into some sort of comedy, because that's all I could do. And I feel like Hollywood do the same. It's not a nice place to live. It's not. Beverly Hills is nice, but everywhere else isn't particularly nice. And I feel like, to compensate for how awful the place is, they've created all these films that make it look nice, that make it look good, because that's how they want it to be, when in reality it's not like that. And I feel like they're only doing it because it's so awful that they want something better. But yeah, it's yeah, I don't know where I want to live in the future. England's too cold, so I don't really want to live here, but it is so much prettier and people here are so much nicer. So but yeah, I don't know what the plan is, or if there is a plan, or if it's going to be a long time. I was seeing so many signs over there that something was going to end soon, and I'm not seeing as many signs here, but that could just be because I'm not connecting with the media people here as much as I do over there. I think that over there they've preached, God is such an important part of lifestyle, in ways over there, whereas in England, God is more of just something occasionally people talk about, and that's it. So that's probably why I don't connect with as many people here. Although it is nicer here. But yeah. Anyway.